Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nurhidana Nazwa binti Syaudin and my matric number is AE190039. I'm going to explain the procedure on how to turn on the LVSB. So before that, we must make sure that we wear all the PPE and then we check the safety measures and apply the permit before do the operation. So we can see here that there is two sides, which is MSB1 and MSB2. We must make sure all the loads and air circuit breaker both in MSB1 and MSB2 in off condition before we start the operation. Okay, so this is for the MSB1. So first, we must turn on the incoming supply here by pull it down. Okay, so we turn on, and then after we turn on, we check the status on the status of the main supply. Okay, at here. Okay, after that, we need to connect the air circuit breaker. Okay, we will connect the air circuit breaker into the bus bar using the charging handle inside the air circuit breaker compartment. So first, we insert the charging handle inside the slot here. Okay, and then we turn it clockwise until the air circuit breaker is in connect position. So, after the air circuit breaker connected to the bus bar, remove the charging handle and put it back inside the air circuit breaker compartment. Okay, then we must turn on the air circuit breaker. So, in order to turn on the air circuit breaker, the coil must be in charge position. Okay, charge condition, but here we can see that it is in discharge. So in order to charge the coil, we must use this charging handle and then we pull it up and down a few times until the status change to charge position. Okay. And then after the coil is charged, we push this green button, we push it and then the air circuit breaker will turn on. Okay, after that, we check the bus bar supply here. Okay, now we are going to on the load, or the loads here, or MCCB. Okay, before we turn on the MCCB, we must inform the consumer side first. After already informed, okay, we turn on the power factor capacitor and then we turn on the MCCB one by one. Okay, here. Okay, we turn on by push it to the left. Okay, so after we already turn on all the loads, we will check the current status of the system. So now the process is complete and the MSB1 is energized and the supply is already given to the consumer. Okay, this is for MSB2. The step or the procedure is the same as MSB1. Okay. First, we turn on the incoming supply for MSB2. So we pull it down. So we turn on. And then we check the main supply status. And then we also can check the voltage at the voltmeter. Now, we must connect the air circuit breaker to the bus bar. Okay, so first what we need to do, we take the charging handle inside the ACB compartment and then we insert the charging handle inside the slot here. And then we turn the charging handle clockwise until the air circuit breaker is in connect position. After the air circuit breaker already connected to the bus bar, we must turn it on. Okay, so in order to turn on the air circuit breaker, we must make sure that the coil is in charge position. But as we can see here, it is in discharge, right? So we use the charging handle here and then we pull it up and down a few times until the coil is in charge position here. After that, we push the green button. To turn on the air circuit breaker. After that, we check the bus bar supply and we check the voltage at the voltmeter. Alright then, before we turn on the load, the MCCB, we must inform the consumer side first. After inform, we turn on the power factor capacitor MCCB one by one. So we turn on by push it to the left. Okay. So after we already turn on the MCCB, we can check the current status of the system. And now the MSB2 is energized and the supply is given to the consumer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Shahira binti Ahmad Safawi. My matrix number is DE200093. I am from group 10 and I will explain about busbar coupling of MSB1 and MSB2. Usually the busbar coupling we do for the fault or maintenance purpose. So if we want to do the maintenance at ACB at MSB1, we must to turn off the ACB first. Before we turn off the ACB, we must to turn off all the load. We must to get the permission before turn off the load. And then we must to turn off all the load 1, 2, 3, 4. And lastly, we will turn off the power factor, which is capacitor factor. To verify, we must to check the status at ammeter. This ammeter should be 0. After that, we can shut down the ACB. We will push the button and then the bus bar already de-energized. So we will turn off the power supply for MSB1. And then we will remove the ACB. We will using the tools. The tools we should put here and then turn to the clockwise to remove the ACB. So now the MCB1 is off, but some of them need to operate. So we can take the supply from the MCB2 to fit on the MCB1. To do the coupling purpose, we need to take out the key from ACB at MSCB1. We need to turn out anti-clockwise. Then I will bring the key and then I will push it here to get the C2 key. And then this key I will put at the isolator 1 at MSB1. And then the another key I will put at the isolator 2 at MSB2. So now the isolator is already to turn on. It depends on the coupling to turn on first. Which isolator 1 or isolator 2. It's either 1 feet to 2 or 2 feet to 1. So for this case, MSB 2 feet to MSB 1. So we need to turn on the nearest isolator to the supply, which is from up to the lower. So we need to turn on the isolator C2 at MSB 2. And then turn on the C1 at C1 isolator at MSB1. And then we can monitor the bus bar supply at here. So MSB1 is already energized, so we can ready to supply. So we need to call the consumer and can turn on the related load. And now the power load at MSB1 and MSB2 is supplied from MSB2. Thank you. That's all from me.
Hi doctor, my name is Wong Chin Kang, can call me CK. My machine number is AE180110. I'm from Group 10 and today I will do the presentation for the lab LVSB system and operation, and later I will show the process of normal supply restore. Before we start the normal supply restore, we need to make sure we have wear all the PPE, and at the same time we need to apply the permit and notify our site consumer that we will close the supply for the maintenance purpose. Once our consumer ready, we will start our normal supply restore. First, we need to turn off the MCCB at the MSB1 one by one. We turn off it. After we turn off the power factor capacitor and we check the current status. After we check the current status, we turn on the isolator and now we will check the bus bar supply indicator light, and if you not any lighting. After that, we turn on the isolator 2 and we remove the key at the isolator 2, put into the isolator 1, and we take the key number 1 of the isolator 1, put it and we turn it clockwise. After that, we remove the key of SCB put into the SCB, and we turn clockwise to the unlock function. After we turn on to the unlock function, and we need to open the main power supply. After we open it, the indicator light should be lighting. After we check the indicator light of the main supply, we will connect the SCB into the bus bar. First, we use the charging handle insert to the SCB, and we turn it clockwise until the SCB in the connect position. After that, we will remove the charging handle, and we need to charge the coil of the SCB by pulling the handle up and down until the status change to the charge position. And now we will turn on the SCB by pushing the green button. After that, we will check the bus bar supply and the voltage status. After we check the indicator light of the bus bar supply and check the voltage status, and we will notify our consumer in order to turn on the supply. Once our consumer ready, we will turn on the power factor capacitor, and after we turn on, we will turn on the MCCB one by one. After we done all the thing, we will check the current status, and we will wait for a while until the system in the stable condition. Since we done all the thing, we will remove the signage, and we will record all the work had done in the logbook. This is very important for the servicing report. And we will cost the permit that we apply. And that's all the presentation from me and my team. Thank you.